What's up, everybody? It is Saturday. I hope you are well. You are very, very welcome along to the Late Night Agenda. As always, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for tuning in. This is your show, as I always say, and you let me know the topics that you want to talk about. I'll just try and steer the conversation, as always, ladies and gentlemen. I hope life's treating you well. It wasn't the greatest day here in Ireland weather-wise, a little bit different from yesterday. Not that you're tuning in to figure out about the weather, but as we speak, Mo is in action for Egypt in the African Cup of Nations. Lionel Messi has just been sent off in what is quite possibly the most ridiculous red card I can remember seeing in a very long time. And other than that, I hope all is well. You're probably wondering what the title of the stream is all about tonight. Look, I'll go through it. Bit by bit, people are going to come in, people are going to ask me to repeat stuff. And I'm going to try my best to do it, because I used to be of the mindset that I can't keep going back over stuff, but I do appreciate people's time, and I know people hop in and out in different stages. So look, let me start off by talking about tonight's stream title. Please don't feel that this is me having a dig at the local or the British media, because far from it. What I'm just trying to say here is somebody has to be telling porkies somewhere along the line. I have the utmost respect for Melissa Reddy, for James Pearce, for Paul Joyce, for Chris Bascom, for everybody else that works the patch in the UK media. Nothing but respect for them, except for the rag. They can go, you know what the rag can do. Anyway, but the title of the stream tonight is "Are the Media Lying to Us?" or something similar. I can't remember the exact wording that we used. But the point I'm trying to make here is we've seen that we've got interest in players from, let's say, French media, Spanish media, Portuguese media, Italian media, whatever it might be. But then when it comes back to the British media, we're hearing a lot of negative, no interest. Liverpool have no interest. But this could well be because it's been things have been kept very tight from a Liverpool perspective. We don't know, and I don't know. Maybe some of the journalists have been briefed that we've no interest in a player or X, Y, or Z. But what I'm trying to say here is there is interest. There has to be interest. There's no way we've just decided a couple of months ago, hey, do you know what, this transfer window, actually we don't need to do anything in it. We don't need to scout any players. We don't need to look at any players. We don't need to talk to any agents. What I'm guessing here is that there could well have been some briefing done. I've had no inside information on anything. So what I want to get on this is your take on it. Because the no leaks thing, which I can see somebody saying already, John Hamilton said no interest or no leaks is the title. Yes, that's kind of where I'm going with it. Like there has to be interest, but Liverpool are keeping things very close to the chest, and because they're keeping things close to the chest, that doesn't mean that we're not going to do anything, and that's where I'm going with this. So look, I want to get your take on it, on the title, on the whole stuff around our links, who you believe we're linked with, who we're not linked with. That's basically where I'm going with it. It's not a dig at anybody. You know that's not the way we work on here. So I want to nip that in the bud before we started. And anyway, let's get into the chat tonight and see how you're all feeling. Peter Van der Shan said they probably know as little as we do until closer to the transfer day. Grant said, you see Messi's red card with Medell today? Any thoughts? Grant, it was, as I touched on, mate, on the intro, it was one of the most ridiculous red cards. Lionel Messi basically, and I've no vested interest in defending Lionel Messi, but he basically stood still, and Medell kept bumping into him. Messi was putting his arms up in the air like this, trying to say, the ref, I'm not doing anything, but he just kept going at him, and the ref just comes over waving around a red card for absolutely no reason. Like, it was ridiculous. And if VAR is being used for a lot of things, surely this is an incident the VAR should have looked at and said, do you know what? That wasn't great, ref. You should probably have a look at this again. There was no action for a red card there. It was just handbags or whatever. It was silly. Very, very silly. And it's a third and fourth place playoff. Argentina are 2-0 up. Maybe it won't make much of a difference, but that doesn't matter. We're talking about the standard of officiating around the world and referees. It's been dog shit for quite a long time. And this was just another example of an absolutely ludicrous red card. I think Liverpool were waiting for Klopp to get back from holidays. I'm back at Melwood, said Jason Powell. Hopefully, but yes, that could well be right. By the way, I just want to say as well, I'm sporting this lovely new shirt today. It's the first time I've worn it. I want to give a shout out to 3 Retro as always for looking after me with this beautiful 2005 Champions League shirt. It's got the nice, you can't really see it because of the green screen here. I'll try and hold it up there. It's got the lovely embroidering as well that said like European Cup Final Istanbul 2005 LFC with 5 stars on there as well. I know it's outdated, but at the time 5 stars was 5 stars. So yeah, lots of love to 3 Retro as well. The shirt along with many others are of course available on the site, so do check it out. You didn't watch along for the Tranmere game? Honestly, I haven't thought about it, mate. What time of the day is it on at? Because if it's on at a reasonable hour, i.e. not 12 o'clock where I'll still be asleep, yeah, probably will, mate, if I'm being honest. I want to try and do as many watch along to the pre-season games as I can. Rax247 said, I definitely feel like they've been briefed. I highly doubt after VVD and Fekir the club would want anything leaked, even interest. Well, look, let me expand a little bit further. So I read a very interesting thread today on Twitter, and I always like to give credit where I can for these things. So the account was called Liverpoolzy, so Liverpool ZY. I think if it's the at, there's a slightly different. I think it might be at Liverpool_ZY. But either way, I like to give credit where it's due, and I thought this was an interesting thread. It basically showed the history of some British-based journalists saying that the club have denied interest in certain players, and then we go on to sign players, or at least players in that position. Off the top of my head, I remember seeing the example shown of Alisson Becker, and that we weren't interested in a goalkeeper, and there was various others as well. It was a very good thread and thought-provoking, which is kind of where I got the idea for tonight's stream title from. So again, if you're on Twitter at Liverpool_ZY, or just search Liverpoolzy, and you'll see the thread that I'm talking about. But I do like to give credit as always, because people put hard work into these things, whether it be articles, whether it be Twitter threads or whatever. And if you're going to talk about something and you've taken it from somewhere, personally I just feel that it's right to give credit where it's due. Shouldn't have been a red card, but Liverpool have broken Messi. Yeah, we have, Connor. It's we kind of did fuck him up a little bit, didn't we? Trust in Klopp. He does his business, very personal, and he doesn't like people knowing his business. We'll sign at least 2 players, said Andreas. What else we got? Did you see that Sepp Vandenberg met Klopp today? I'm sure you've probably seen the video floating around of that one as well. It was nice. Yeah, it's nice to get these little insights. I'm very impressed with the way the club have gone about putting clips out lately. It's good. It's drawn in interaction with people, and it's given us a little insight into the inner workings of the club at times. I don't think VAR gets involved in bookings. It wasn't a booking, it was a red card, and you could be right, Ben, they might not get involved, mate, but when something is as wrong as that, what's the point in having VAR if... I think they can only get involved, if memory serves me correct, for... what's it called? Where the ref books the wrong person, basically, or the ref sends off the wrong person. I think that's the only way they can get involved. But it was crazy. It was never a red. Roberto Sadio Sally, You'll Never Walk Alone, said, don't forget agents use our name to sell their players. Couldn't agree with you more, Roberto, and I think Nicolas Pepe could be a very good example of that. We spoke last night about the Lille, I think it was the Lille president, came out and said that he knows that Liverpool have had talks with the player's agent. Well, let me put it this way. If Liverpool have held talks with Pepe's agent and the Lille president thinks that we have, isn't that tapping up? Shouldn't he be pissed off? Shouldn't he not want to be discussing somebody else talking to his player or his club's player? That's clearly a case of tapping up. So why isn't he pissed off? Well, probably because, as you've rightly pointed out, mate, and others have, he's taunting the player, flaunting the player about, trying to get people interested in him, trying to get bids in for him. There you go. There you can see the whole hypocrisy of the entire transfer situation. One thing is tapping up, and then all of a sudden it's alright because we actually want to sell the player, but we're just trying to hawk his name around there. So there is something to that. Peter Van der Shan said Klopp seems to make good players great. What else we got? Milner won the lactic test again at Melwood. Milner's just a machine. Nice day, isn't he? I've seen him and Joe Gomez running around the pitch, and the gap just getting bigger and bigger and bigger as they did more and more laps. Jimmy Milner's a machine. I think it was specifically talking about the ref should have looked at VAR. Either way, just somebody should have alerted them to the fact that was a nonsense red card. Milner's a fitness god, said Liz. He is. He's absolutely brilliant, isn't he? Nagab said we could sign Aubameyang. I don't think we will, mate. I've seen Arsenal. I've seen United linked to Aubameyang at one point. And Arsenal obviously need to bring in some money because I think 40 million seems to be the amount that has been briefed that they have to spend. And I think if Unai Emery wants to really address his squad, he may have to move somebody on. But God, if you're an Arsenal fan right now, you don't want to be hearing Aubameyang linked to the move away after he just, won the Golden Boot along with Salah and Mane this season. Why are we not looking at Kai Havertz? He looks like a great prospect. From what I've read, James, he is nailed on to join Bayern Munich next year. But at least what I've read is that Leverkusen aren't selling him this year because they've sold Julian Brandt, and they feel like they need to keep Kai Havertz, and they need to at least have him for another year. But I have read from some German publications as well that they believe he's going to go to Bayern Munich next year. Is a very good young player though, as you said. I totally agree with you on that one. Agents have caused the real mess in football today, said Peter van der Schans. I suppose, Peter, we're kind of seeing that with the whole Mino Raiola thing now as well with Paul Pogba, and that 1 minute Juventus are desperate to sign him, then it's Real Madrid that are desperate to sign him. Either way though, Mino Raiola saying that his player wants out of the club. Well, look, to be fair, I don't defend Manchester United very often here, but they should do what's best for Manchester United in this situation, and fuck Paul Pogba and fuck Mino Raiola. United have a job to do here, and they're a big club. They won't probably be pushed around by players, or they shouldn't be. Same with Liverpool, same with any big club in this. And I hate defending Manchester United, but they do hold the power in this situation. They should basically tell Paul Pogba to do one, or they'll go on their terms, basically. Stephen Booker said, Craig, technically yes it is, but clubs always approach the player or agent if they would be interested in the move rather than talking to the club in the first place. Yeah, I understand the hypocrisy of it all, Stephen, but what I'm trying to point out here is if they had no interest in selling the player, he wouldn't be coming out and saying, oh yeah, they've been speaking to him, they've been talking to his agent, because that is clear tapping up. It's just because it suits them, because they're trying to start a bidding war, as people have suggested, to get 65, 70 million, whatever it is they believe he's worth. How much do I believe Nicolas Pepe is worth? Asked Discarded Ant 58. I've been very honest in my thoughts on Nicolas Pepe, in that I haven't seen a whole lot of him because I didn't watch Lille, so I'm probably not the right person to put a value on Nicolas Pepe. From what I've read, and others who know a lot more about Nicolas Pepe than I would, people said that 40 to 50 would be a comfortable amount for a club to spend to take a chance on him. But again, look, being honest, I haven't seen that much of him personally. Bernadette, how are you? Welcome in. Craig, really interesting feature on BBC Sport website about how transfers go down. It was a while ago, so I'm not sure if you can find it. Yeah, I will try, Stephen. I love to read about stuff like that, mate. I love to see the whole transfer business and what happens and what goes on. And but they're very complicated these days, transfers. Like it's not as cutthroat, or well, it is as cutthroat as we believe. It's not as open and shut as I think some of us naively believe. Who's Pepe joining then? Haven't got a clue. Not got a clue who he's joining. Not got a clue who he isn't joining. The whole point of the title is not for me to say that we've got no interest in any of these players. I thought that, well, I hope that was clear. Well, the point of the thumbnail and the title is that what we're being told by the media, or the British-based media, is we've no interest in any of these players. No interest. That's basically where I was going with the thumbnail. It's not my opinion, because I don't have any inside information. All I ever do is just give my thoughts on things. Randy said, how are you, Randy? So, evening Craig, evening Redmen. I'm not worried about the lack of transfer activity. I'm hoping that we make strides to move forward and not rest on our laurels. Keep the pressure on Manchester City. I think you probably summed up, Randy, mate, the feeling of all Liverpool fans, in that we realise that we're in a good place right now. We realise we've had a great season. We do look at Manchester City and know that they've got a very good, very deep squad, that they're improving, and we don't want to stand still. I think it's fair. I think it's unfair of people to be losing their minds already over stuff that hasn't finished yet. The transfer window is still open. I'm not saying you're doing that, mate, far from it. I'm just trying to say that, you know, people have overreacted and said, oh, give up. We might as well give up. Sure, we've done this and this. If I was to pull up certain watch-alongs during the season, let's use the Everton game as an example, because I blatantly remember when that game was 0-0 heading towards the end of it, people saying just hand the title to Manchester City. Liverpool fans in our stream saying just hand the title to Manchester City. And then what happens? Divock Origi goes, scores, and everybody's attitude changed. Now, of course, we know City went on to win the league, but I'm just giving an example of why sometimes we overreact, or we're a little bit quick to jump the gun and make judgments. Brandt went for about 28-30 million, said Sean Mullen. I'm not sure of the exact amount, but as you know, he did go to Borussia Dortmund along with Torgan Hazard. The lit saga shows agents run transfers, said Mickey Friars. They're certainly powerful, Mickey. I can't deny that, mate. And too powerful for my liking, and they get too much money. The only reason I keep bringing up this particular transfer is because the only one I've seen a figure on, but I believe Mino Raiola earned somewhere between 18 and 21 million pound for Paul Pogba's transfer to Manchester United. An agent earning that much money, not the player. If it went into the player's pocket, I wouldn't, I wouldn't be saying too much about it. But Mino Raiola, the club Manchester United, and look, we can't. As Liverpool fans, we've paid a shit ton of money. I think we actually topped the fees to agents list last season. So I'm not saying this from a virtuous position where Liverpool haven't done wrong here. I think Liverpool need to cop on as well, and agents need to get less money, more money taken out of the game, more money taken out of the clubs, more expense for fans perhaps as well, whether it be shirt sales, ticket sales, whatever it is. Look, you've heard my thoughts on agents before. I'm not a massive fan of them in general. Although I'm sure there are agents that do a lot of good for the clients as well. Aubameyang isn't awful. Who called him awful? Whoever called Aubameyang awful, that's just silly. I mean, you don't score as many goals as that man has in his career and be called awful. Like that's just wrong. If you could only sign one regardless of the current situation, Bruno Fernandes or Nicolas Pepe. I'm saying this from a position again of not having watched much of either of them. Probably Nicolas Pepe, because I think I like pace, and Pepe has pace. Fernandes seems to be a very good attacking midfielder and certainly has an eye for goal. We've seen that from his statistics with Sporting Lisbon this season. Personally, I think we could do better than both, but if I had to pick one of those two, I'd probably side with Nicolas Pepe. John Cable said, Raiola has caused this mess in football more than any other agent. Pogba wants 500 grand a week to move as well. Can any of us honestly say, hand on heart, that Paul Pogba is 120 to 150 million pound footballer and that he deserves £500,000 a week? Because I can't say that. I really can't say that. He's an excellent top level footballer, but he isn't putting in performances for me that command that type of a wage or that much of a transfer fee. United fans want to boycott any signings associated with Raiola. I don't blame them. Sean Mullins again reiterating that Pogba wants 500 grand a week. That's fucking mad money, isn't it? 500 grand a week is mad money. What else have we got? Right, so I read it interesting. We spoke about Dani Ceballos, by the way. We spoke about him quite a lot, and I'm sure I'm going to have to repeat this as the stream goes on. But the Daily Star suggests that after a call from Pochettino, which I told you about yesterday, I told you that was apparently in the works, that Dani Ceballos has snubbed Liverpool and decided that he wants to join Spurs. They go on to say that Mauricio Pochettino is guaranteed to play a regular playing time. But let's not forget here that Real Madrid seem to want this buyback clause inserted in any deal for Dani Ceballos, at least if the media are to be believed. That's what's been spoken about here. Now, if I'm Dani Ceballos and I'm looking at Liverpool, I'm looking at Spurs, I could probably understand the point that he knows he's going to get more game time at Spurs. They're moving on Christian Eriksen. There is more opportunity there from probably with less challenge. That midfield is certainly more eminently get-inable, if that's not a phrase, but you know what I'm trying to say, than looking at the Liverpool midfield. But I'm not going to backtrack on this. I do think Dani Ceballos is a very good footballer, and I think at the £45 million mark that seems to be mentioned, it will be a good piece of business for any club. I don't like the buyback clause. Daniel Levy is a shrewd negotiator. I couldn't see Liverpool doing that deal with that buyback clause in it, and I'd be amazed if Spurs do it as well, because it just takes away any stability from the club, and it takes away the potential. Like, what if Dani Ceballos goes to Spurs and he turns out to be an absolute superstar, and Spurs season's going great, and then all of a sudden they just take him away and they're back and they get the money, but they don't have that player that they perhaps built part of the team around. It just seems madness. What else we got? Guys, we are only 10 subscribers or so away from hitting 17,800, which is getting us close to 18k. So if you're watching the stream and you're enjoying it, as always, please do hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Big result for Senegal, said Jason Ward. 100 quid on Senegal to win at 11-2 is looking good. Yeah, what's that, into the quarterfinals now, I think, for them, mate. So congratulations to them. What's going on with the Egypt game? Let me just get a quick update on the score there. Egypt. Oh, South Africa are winning 1-0. Oh my goodness. Mo Salah's Egypt looking like they could be going out here. The home team as well. Wow. 85th minute goal for Lorch, I think it was, from South Africa. Now, for those watching this back, I do apologise, but as we're recording this or as we're streaming, that game is still going on. Interesting. From a selfish point of view, we'll get Mo back a little bit earlier, but from being being a Mo fan like we all are, you wanted him to go on and you wanted him to do well for his country, but let's just wait and see what does happen there. Said on Sky that Tottenham were favourites for Ceballos, said James Hunt. Yep, and as I'm reading here from the Daily Star, mate, they reckon that Pochettino's made a call there and that Danny Ceballos has chosen to go to Spurs. We'll have to just wait and see what happens there. He's a good player. What else we got? Salah needs some good rest, said Shea Trainer. I'm not going to disagree with you at all, Shea. We've seen what happened last summer when he went to the World Cup, not fully fit. That impacted the start of his season, and he has played a lot of football. He'll get his full 3 weeks off, regardless of what happens here, whether he goes out tonight or whether they go on to win or whatever happens. He'll get his 3 weeks off, and hopefully he enjoys his 3 weeks as much as he can, obviously, if he has disappointment with his national team. But we want to fit Mo back ready for next season. What else we got? The Lille chairman said the Pepe is worth 40 to 80 million euros and they don't expect the high end, so looking more around the 55 million euro mark, said Craig Adams. It's a very broad amount, isn't it? To say, we reckon he's worth between 40 and 80 million and we're not expecting the higher one. I mean, why would he come out? I'm not denying, by the way, Craig, sorry mate, that he said that. It just seems a very silly thing. From a negotiating perspective, it's like, you might be worth 80, but you probably don't expect the 80. You know what I mean? You're inviting offers down to 40 million, aren't you? Mo's back for pre-season, happy and not happy because I wanted Egypt to win, said Callum. I know the dude that tried to call you a nonce, and well, he's done. If that's aimed at me, mate, I mean, join the queue of people that tried to call me or want to call me a nonce. It happens every single day of my life on social media, mate. I just don't take anything from it at this point, for fuck's sake. I mean, nonce. I mean, we know the meaning of the word, and from that point of view, it's disgusting, but it's just a stupid term thrown around by fucking morons, quite frankly. They're playing South Africa, Kyle, mate. They're playing South Africa. Right, anyway, let's go back to Liverpool-related stuff. So Barcelona's president, Josep Bartomeu, or I'm not sure if I've mispronounced the gentleman's name, has been talking about Ousmane Dembele, and it's quite interesting actually to hear what he has to say. He said Dembele is young, talented, different from our other current players. I like him very much as he is. I consider him one of today's best footballers, and here's the really interesting part, and I consider him better than Neymar. Now, interesting stuff there from the Barcelona president. We know Barcelona have been very strongly linked with a move for Neymar, but for him to come out and say that Ousmane Dembele is better than Neymar, I'm not saying he is or is not. I'm just saying for him to say that, if you're Neymar looking at this, a club that you want to go back to, you're going, whoa, hang on here, dickhead. No, we're not having that. I am Neymar. Nobody can roll around on the ground like I can. Nobody can look adoringly towards their sister like I can. And it kind of does lean towards him saying that he doesn't want to sell Ousmane Dembele, or that they won't be selling Dembele. But if they aren't selling Dembele, or they're not selling Coutinho, I'd love to know where the fuck he's getting the money for Antoine Griezmann and potentially Neymar as well. Gory's the scariest place in Ireland. That's a fucking ridiculous thing to say, mate. I feel like booting you out of the chat just for saying that, because that is my hometown, mate, and for you to insult it like that is it's not great when it's a fucking lovely town. And I don't want people to look at Gory and listen to your thoughts about it being the scariest place in Ireland when it's a wonderful town, mate, and I've been living here 8 years now and never had any issues around the town. I'm very proud to come from Gory. I think even United got all them deals. They're not getting top four, said James Hunt. Yeah, I agree, mate. It's going to be tough for them to get top four. I'm not saying they won't do it, but let's say they get Fernandes, they get Harry Maguire, they get Longstaff. By the way, 50 million for Longstaff. Have you seen this nonsense as well? 50 million for Longstaff is what Newcastle are asking. And then they've got that kid James, and they've signed Aaron Wan-Bissaka as well. So Good business by United to get those players in, but I'm not looking at that United squad even with every single one of those and worrying for 1 second. It's still infinitely worse than ours. What are your personal opinions on the Ballon d'Or? That it's going to be won by Virgil van Dijk, George. That's my opinions, mate. The bookies seem to agree. They have Van Dijk as a favourite, Lionel Messi second. And I think it's fair. I mean, even trying to not be biased on it. What a season Virgil van Dijk has had. Bernardo Silva as well. He's had an excellent season for Manchester City. Subi, how are you, mate? Good to see you. Hope you're keeping well. Why is it that United are doing better business than us? They're not, though. That's just fucking stupid, mate. How they need to do a shit ton of stuff, mate, because their club's up shit creek without a paddle. Do you want Aaron Wan-Bissaka over Trent Alexander-Arnold? I don't. Do you want Harry Maguire over Virgil van Dijk? I don't. Do you want Longstaff over, I don't know, any of our midfielders? I don't. So where's the great business that they're doing? They're spending a shit ton of money. They're lashing out a load of money in wages to players to try and get back into top four, whereas we're as close to being guaranteed top four as it can possibly be, probably going to challenge for the title and have just won the European Cup. I couldn't give a shite what United do because they are miles behind us and they're going to stay a mile behind us, Sam, for a very long time, mate. It's going to take them 2, 3, 4 months worth of windows, or 4 years, worth of windows to start catching up. I don't get this. Why worry about it? Like, they're United. They're irrelevant to us at this moment in time because they're levels below us. Craig doesn't get sarcasm. No, mate. I might not get sarcasm. But I do get that you're being a cunt. And I do also get the right to fuck you off the channel. So, sarcasm, mate, takes wit. And you clearly haven't got any of it. So, do you know what? Elijah John 5. You can go fuck yourself, pal. And you can go fuck yourself, and you can go fuck yourself again, and then you can continue to go and fuck yourself and your horrible, shitty, snidey little comments, you sour little fuck. I hope that worked. There was no sarcasm involved in that whatsoever, mate, by the way, just to clear that up for you, because I know you're trying to pretend that you're clever and trying to belittle me by saying I don't get sarcasm. I am probably the most fucking sarcastic human being you will ever meet, and anyone that knows you will tell you quite how much I love sarcasm and enjoy it. But sarcasm involves wit and intelligence, mate, and clearly you seem to be lacking in both, so adios, dickhead. Am I watching the Copa America final tomorrow, Sydney Geb? I 100% will be, mate. I'm very much looking forward to it. And just to clear up as well on that, I won't be doing a stream tomorrow night because of the Copa America final and because Sunday is a family day and I want to spend some time with my wife and kids because I've been really busy over the last few months. But don't worry, we will have content going up on the channel for you. I had a talk with Cash yesterday. We talked about... what did we talk about with Cash? We talked about other clubs' transfers. We talked about Ryan Brewster. We talked about... the ladies team joining the men's team on the Tour of America, and we talked about a few other bits and pieces. So I hope you enjoy that. It's always a pleasure to catch up with Cash. Also, good news, we're having Drifty on Monday. I told you we were going to try and get Drifty from the Football Banter show on. It was just a matter of trying to, make sure our schedule's lined up and that. So Drifty's going to come on for a chat on Monday. It's going to be a pre-recorded segment. I'm not sure when it'll go out, but I'm delighted to be able to welcome Drifty on. I've had the pleasure of getting to chat to him a little bit and getting to know him a little bit on Twitter over the past few months, and he seems like a very, very nice man. So really looking forward to having Drifty on for a chat. Hoping to get Mark Goldbridge on as well before the season starts. Maybe Anthony at Leicester City FC, Boya, if he's around as well, we'll get him on for a chat. And many, many more as well. A couple of podcasts going to be recorded over the next few weeks as well. Myself, Cash and Jace Roberts are going to get together and do... Well, I say get together. We're going to jump on Skype and do something. And then... some breaking news from the Anfield Agenda perspective. Myself, Brian, Connor and perhaps Dave from Dave's LFC chats if he's available. We're just waiting to see. We're all going to go and play fuck golf again next weekend, and we're going to film it and we're going to get some content together and put that up as well, and probably record a podcast or a few segments while we're together at the same time. What's your thoughts on Eamon Dunphy? I like Eamon Dunphy, Ala Madrid. I like that he's had his moments over the years, of course he has, but I do like Eamon Dunphy. He's very outspoken, says things as he sees it. He's not everybody's cup of tea, but I've always enjoyed watching him on RTE over the years. Liverpool need another keeper, said Liz Golden. I don't know if you mean if Mignolet goes, Liz, or I don't know if you're referring to the fact that Queeveen Kelleher has picked up an injury and we could be a little bit short for pre-season. So just to clear up on that one, Liverpool goalkeeper Queeveen Kelleher is set to be sidelined for around 6 weeks. He had an operation, 6 weeks. He had an operation after breaking his wrist, and it kind of does leave us a little bit short for the pre-season tour of America. Alisson obviously playing the Copa America final. Mignolet had Nations League stuff as well, so I'm not sure exactly when he's due back. And that leaves us with Kamil Grabara as well. He was at the European Under-21 Championship, so we might have to perhaps play the first couple of friendlies with a very young goalkeeper in. I think that might be what you're referring to, Liz. I hope it is, because it led me rather nicely into that little segment that I wanted to talk about anyway. So thank you for that, my friend. C. Klopp said Oxlade-Chamberlain, Gomez and Brewster are like new signings. Oxlade-Chamberlain and Brewster. I misread that. In my own head, I had Oxlade-Chamberlain and Gomez as one person there. Like 3 new signings. If we're done in the market, we've got 12 man. I don't think we are done in the market. At least I hope we're not, because I'd like us to add a forward in there. But yes, I said similar about James Milner a few seasons back as well. And it is great to have them. It is great to have Gomez back and fit. It is great to have Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain back and fit. And I would say it's great to have Ryan Brewster back and fit, but we haven't really seen what this guy is capable of yet. But I am expecting a lot from Ryan Brewster. I mean, the sky is the limit for that kid. He looks absolutely fantastic. Jesus serve my life, bro, said we need a transfer. If we don't sign a player, we're screwed. Well, we're not screwed, mate. That's over the top completely. I would agree we need a transfer, but I wouldn't go as far as to say if we don't get one, we're screwed, because we're in a pretty good position. You know, European champions, 97 points, very good squad. It would be nice to get a player, though. I think we do need an attacking player, but I definitely wouldn't go as far as to say we're screwed. No Mane to win if you have to win more trophies than VVD this season. No Mane to win it. He would have more trophies than VVD this season. Yeah, perhaps. But VVD, they get the Player of the Season award. Let's not forget that as well. And he could potentially have the Ballon d'Or, Callum. Who do you think will miss out of the top 4? Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs or United? Well, I don't think Spurs will, Dean. I think Spurs are absolute. I would consider them nearly nailed on with ourselves and Manchester City for the top 4. The other one will depend on transfer business. Although, look, obviously Chelsea can't really do much there with regards to transfers because they have that ban. Although they do have a lot of young players out on loan that they could bring back in. Between United and Arsenal, as it stands, it looks like United are doing better business. But again, it remains to be seen how they gel into the team, how Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gets on tactically, and with Thursday, Sunday football, which Arsenal and Manchester United are going to have to get used to next season. And it does, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems to impact teams having that Thursday, Sunday football. Alisson has a good chance of getting the Ballon d'Or for the 3 Golden Gloves. He definitely deserves to be in and around that conversation, Dembele, but even himself, he said that he's not going to get it, and he won't get it. But he's had an amazing season. 3 Golden Gloves, as you said, the Premier League, the Copa America, the Champions League. He's been fantastic. United need more players than we need to buy, said Nice Day, which 100% agree with, pal. Anthony, I know you're from Gory, mate, which I knew that probably would have offended you as well. It was how we could say I don't get sarcasm when the fucking gobshite just said Gory is, whatever he said, Gory isn't a nice place, or Gory is the saddest place or scariest place in Ireland, I think he said. I mean, where was the sarcasm there? I mean, he clearly doesn't understand how fucking sarcasm works. Here's sarcasm for you, just to clear up. Elijah John 5. Elijah John 5 is sound, isn't he? There's your sarcasm, mate. Because I think you're a prick after what you said. So, there you go. Ignore them all, Craig. Bellends, a lot of them said Dauntless always. I do, mate. But sometimes it's fun to just poke at them a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Because I can take all the non-stuff. And there's certain things that I just don't take. People slagging off mental health. People slagging off where I live. People slagging off my family. Or people slagging off our football club. Do you know what, actually? I heard a beautiful saying yesterday. I said this to Connor last night as well. I heard it on the Joe Rogan podcast, and I think they were talking about whichever goalkeeper perhaps won the Golden Glove in the MLS this season. And if I'm wrong on that, I sincerely apologise. But the phrase anyway that refers to mental health, which I just thought was a beautiful, beautiful thing, and it really inspired me when I heard it. They said, "I might be mentally ill, but that doesn't mean that I'm mentally weak." And that really inspired me. Just that simple phrase. I might be mentally ill, but that doesn't mean that I'm mentally weak. I thought that was absolutely beautiful. A really good thing to say. Because just because you are suffering an illness, that doesn't mean you're mentally weak. I have a mental illness. I suffer with anxiety amongst other things. But I promise you, I'm a very mentally strong person. And that's why probably I feel inspired by this. So yeah, well done. I thought it was a beautiful phrase, and one that I hope resonates with a few people. Was it the semis in the AFCON today? No, it was just still the last 16, mate, which is weird because VAR doesn't come into play, I believe, in the African Cup of Nations till the quarter-final, which seems very, very strange. What else have we got? Bruno Fernandes is a boss. He would fit Liverpool very well, said the Sporto. I'll have to take your opinion on that one, mate, because as I said, I haven't watched much of him. I've seen his numbers last year, and I know that he broke records for the highest amount of goals scored by a midfielder in the Portuguese league. And I know loads of Liverpool fans would really like him. I just don't know enough about him. I just believe whoever Klopp wants, Klopp will get. And if we wanted Bruno Fernandes, we would get him ahead of Manchester United. But he's not gone anywhere yet, even though it is looking more increasingly likely that he's going to go to United. Zafilio said, "Sorry to ask again. No need to worry, mate. I didn't see the first comment. I apologise if I missed it. But did you see how massive Sepp Vandenberg was compared to when he met Klopp? He had an inch or two on him. Yeah, definitely. Apparently, somebody said that Klopp is supposed to be 6'4". I don't know if that's true or that isn't true. But Sepp Vandenberg is down at 6'2", as you've said, mate. And if Klopp's 6'4", then there's no way Sepp Vandenberg is 6'2". Even if Klopp's 6'2", then as you said, there was an inch or two there in Sepp's favour. So he is a big unit for such a young man, isn't he? Which is why perhaps he could be a little bit further along in his development, particularly physically, than Keane Hoover. And what else we got? Oh, Joe, have you tried DNT Rogan? Good podcast. It's my favourite thing, mate. I absolutely love the Joe Rogan experience. I listen to it religiously. Any news getting a backup left back yet? Said James Hunt. No, mate, honestly, I haven't seen anything other than Adam Lewis being rated very highly and perhaps getting the opportunity. Sort of. Bear with me, because I did read something today about a fullback, and this comes from a former Manchester United player, Cleberson, and I'm not sure if you guys have seen this. So former United, they say star, I think they're fucking taking the piss there by calling him a star, but former Manchester United player, Cleberson, has urged Liverpool to sign Brazil legend Dani Alves. Speaking about it, he said, "I wanted to get Dani Alves to join me in the MLS. He's a phenomenal player with amazing quality. I feel maybe he could fit in well at Liverpool and Klopp would like him as a style of player. He's very technical, fast and has an incredible temperament in the big games. He's a winner." What do you guys think about that one? Dani Alves, there is no doubt, has been an unbelievable fullback over the years. Attacking wise, there hasn't been many better than him. We were linked with him, I think, under Rafael Benitez when he was still at Sevilla. I think we were linked to trying to make a move to bring him in from Sevilla, but for whatever reason, whether Rafa didn't get the money or whatever, it didn't work out. Now, I know Dani Alves is in his mid-30s, I think. I don't know his exact age. And I know wherever he went, he would command a very, very, very high wage. But I'd love to know what you guys think about that thought from Cleberson, who I refuse to call a star in any way, shape or form, by the way. Liz said Sadio just scored. They were playing earlier today or yesterday, were they not? Yeah, Sadio was playing yesterday. He missed a penalty and scored a goal, Liz, in Senegal's 1-0 win. I think he said he's going to step away from penalty duties for the time being because he's missed 2, I think, so far. I'm a Liverpool fan, but must admit I tune into the United stand from time to time because they're now a banter club, said Mark Williams. Yeah, look, and I would urge you to, because Mark Goldbridge does very good stuff over there. He's a very funny lad. He's a very nice man, and everybody knows that I've got nothing but time for Mark, and it's a huge channel, to be fair, and continues to grow, and deservedly so. Claire Dean said, I'm dead excited about Sepp. I have a feeling he's going to be boss. Maybe not this year, but watch the lad go. Yeah, look, he's very highly rated, Claire, as you said, and a lot of people wanted the kid, and I keep going back to the fact that Bayern tried to pinch him and tried to scupper that deal even when he was at Melwood. Too high wages, said the Revenite, with regards to Dani Alves. Alves in the top flight Premier League, not for me now, not at his age, said Sean W. V8 said he'd be a new Milner kind of player. Peter van der Shan said he slowed down a lot, and Jack reckons he's about 33. Adam Park said, what knobhead said that Alves is so past it and Trent Alexander-Arnold is way better than him at the minute? What knobhead said is that Alves is so past it and Trent Alexander is way... Well, Trent Alexander-Arnold is class. That's one thing I'll say at the minute. I'm not going to knock Dani Alves because, as I said, he's had a tremendous career. What's happening with Klein, asks Nice Day. Is he staying or is he going? It looks like he's going. Links obviously have been to Bournemouth. I think Palace. Palace obviously with Aaron Wan-Bissaka joining Manchester United have been strongly linked with a 15 to 20 million pound bid, I think, for Nathaniel Klein, which might be interesting for Kleiny. If Liverpool want the right back, go for Cancelo, not Dani Alves, 3 times the player, but we don't need... It's very difficult, Roberto, because he's a very good player and I think he'd been linked to City, but it's difficult for Liverpool to go out there to try and get a right back and say, you know, we're going to go and spend whatever amount it is on a backup right back, because that's what he will be. Although saying that, we've a lot of games to play as well. Anthony said, that's a lovely jersey you have on. Thank you, mate. As I said, I got it from 3 Retro. It's 2005 Champions League final shirt and I love it. Okay, what else we got? Who would be the quickest player at Liverpool? I did read this a while ago. Was it Gomez? Anybody know offhand who the quickest or the fastest player at Liverpool is? I remember reading it a while back and it surprised me a little bit. I thought it would have been Sadio, but somebody I think said it was Gomez. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. Maybe my memory's playing tricks. Any news or any updates on the Origi contract, asks Craig Adams. No, he's still on his holidays, mate. Apparently there was a call went in from Klopp, if I remember reading. But it seems we're really confident that he will sign that deal, and I hope he signs the deal because Origi deserves a deal. Loads of people saying it's Origi. There you go. Perfect. That would have still surprised me, but yeah, Origi. There you go. Thank you. This is what I keep saying. You guys bail me out and give me these answers time after time, and I love you for it. Which is why I get really annoyed when the idiot like earlier on, that Elijah John guy who's been in the chat for such a long time. I don't understand the need for that shitty comment earlier on. It's why I get, when I do get worked up or get pissed off, it's because I feel really frustrated because our chat is usually 99.9% really good, and stuff like that just lets everyone down, I think. Some people are saying VVD, some people are saying Origi. Ooh, bit of a battle going on here. What have we got? James Hunt said, don't get me wrong, I love Mane, but even this year Salah has been our best winger. I would disagree with you, James, on that one, mate, and I love both of them, and I'm not saying you are wrong. All I'm saying is this is just my opinion, James. I think Sadio has been a better player this year than Mohamed Salah, personally. Mohamed Salah has created more chances than anybody else for Liverpool this season. That is a fact. I think second and third were Trent and Robbo, although I'm not sure in what order. But just, again, sometimes it can be positive bias or whatever, but I just think, for me, Sadio's had a better season. But look, I'm not saying you're right or wrong. They're both great. I love them both. It is just a matter of personal preference, I suppose, mate. It seems Klein is going to stay and be back up left and right back. Where'd you read that, Krishna? Because why, if that is the case, and again, mate, I could be wrong. I might have missed something on it, but Why would we have loaned him out last year when we were sort of in need at a time where he played really well against United and then said he wanted football, so we went out on loan? Why all of a sudden then would we say, no, we're going to keep you here, we need you here now because we need backup, when nothing has changed from the situation when he went out already? That's what would confuse me about it. And again, please don't think I'm having a dig at you, pal. I just don't know if you'd seen it somewhere. Jason Ward, talk to you soon, mate. Sorry, I was reading your comment there while I was scrolling through. It's a good point from Peter Van der Shands as well. It could depend on the distance that they're running over, mate. Yeah, that is a very fair point. I remember reading that. Do you remember who was that young centre back that we signed from Sporting many moons back that didn't quite make it at the club? Thiago Ilori. I remember reading that he broke Cristiano Ronaldo's sprint record at Sporting Lisbon, and I remember thinking, oh hello, this kid must be absolutely the business. And that didn't quite work out for him, but it's still an impressive record there. Right, John Hamilton has some scores for us, some numbers, which would suggest that I was right with my Gomez thing, but I'm not saying I am, I'm just working off John's here. So Joe Gomez has been clocked at 21.6 miles per hour. Second was Van Dijk at 21.5 miles per hour. Third place Sadio Mane, 21.4 miles per hour. Fourth place Trent, 21.1, and Andy Robertson, 21 miles per hour in sixth place. Thank you so much, John, by the way, for grabbing those numbers. I knew I had read something about Gomez being fastest. I don't know if it's from a standing start or if it's the fastest clocked on the field over a specific distance. I'm not sure. But John, do you know what, mate? How on earth you don't have a spanner is beyond me. So give me 2 seconds there, because your input has been tremendous to the channel, mate, and I very much appreciate it, along with loads of other people's input as well. But John always goes and digs stuff out for me when I'm stuck, pal. So thank you so much. Shankly. Yes, and yes. Spy on cop. I think Mane is the fastest, with Salah and Trent too. Salah one. Okay, what else we got? Let me get past all the comments. I love the debate going on about who's the fastest. It's class. Not sure it's been said already, but Egypt are out of the AFCON. Salah's coming home. We touched on it a little bit earlier on, and it is disappointing for Mo, isn't it? But from a purely selfish perspective for us, it's good that he's going to get his holiday now, and we'll get him back for pre-season. But of course, Egypt being the host nation, I imagine it'll be bitterly disappointing for them. Adam Sam said, do you think our current squad, do you guys think our current squad is good enough to compete against City? Well, I suppose the simple answer, mate, is yes, we did it already, and all they've done is add Rodri so far. The more in-depth answer is it depends on priorities, and it depends on how far we go in each competition. I am of the mindset that I think City are going to face a lot of distractions this season from the stuff coming out around FFP, and I think the media are going to be on their back about stuff, and I think they're going to have a potential ban from Europe, which will lead to an appeal and more headlines and more stories in the media, and a potential ban for the following year from Europe, which might put pressure on them to try and win the Champions League, or push to try and win the Champions League this season, or go all out to do it, which could maybe take their eye off the ball in certain things. Add to that the fact that they've lost a very, very important person in their dressing room in Vincent Kompany, who, look, he might not have played as much as he and Manchester City fans perhaps would have wanted to, but he's a big, big person and a high caliber person to have missing from their dressing room. So their leader has to be replaced as well. There are a few weaknesses to be looked at in Manchester City, but there is no denying they have a tremendous squad, and a squad that is deeper and probably more complete than any other squad in the Premier League, including ours. But at the same time, everybody can only just put 11 players on the pitch, and I would like us to strengthen in a couple of areas, but I definitely think we can compete with them because we've proven this year that we can. Christian said, it's not that Klopp wants to keep clients, seems to be no buyers. Bournemouth and Palace have signed others. Have they? At right back? I don't know. I know Bournemouth signed Lloyd Kelly at left back, but I'm unaware of who Palace have signed. if they have signed someone, because I don't pay much attention to Palace's transfer business, to be fair. What else we got? You're welcome, John, and it was very much necessary, mate. You've been class, so thank you for everything. Losing company is going to be massive, said K2 Edge. I think it's K2 Edge. If I got your name wrong, mate, I do apologise. Did you hear about Longstaff from Newcastle being priced at more than 50 million? I know, it's madness. I'm not slating him as a player, God, far from it. I think he's been out since March with an injury, but 50 million for an unproven player, or a player that's had less than one full season, madness, absolute madness. I mean, how far do you go to pay for potential? I mean, where do you draw the line? It's crazy. City will have a problem on and off the field without company, said Neil Anthony. 455 people watching, ladies and gents, and we're only 6 subscribers away from 17,800. I'm going on holidays in just over 2 weeks, and I would love to get to 18k before I go away. So if you're enjoying the stream, please do hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. What else have we got? Let me just see. A few other bits and pieces. Oh, Naby Keita. A couple of people were asking about Naby Keita's injury, so I did a little bit of research today on that one. And it seems that Liverpool expect Naby Keita to be fit again for pre-season training a little bit later on this month. The midfielder sustained a minor abductor strain during the Africa Cup of Nations duty with Guinea. The injury ended Keita's participation in the tournament, and he returned to Melwood for further examination by the club's medical team. However, he's set to be ready for pre-season training as planned when back on Merseyside following an end of season break later in July, and if memory serves me correct, I took that from the Echo. So yeah, sort of good news. He did pick up a minor abductor strain, but he will be fit for pre-season training and hopefully ready for the start of the season, which is good news because we need Naby Keita. And we need him to be fit and firing for the season because he's class. And we need him to put... If he can stay injury free, I think he'll have a massive impact on our season. Has David Silva left City? No, mate. He's in one more season with them and then he's going to leave at the end of next season. I think he announced that a few weeks ago. Nice day. He said, have to remember, City won 14 straight games to win the Premier League by a point. Yes, they did. They didn't drop a single point since that loss away at Newcastle. Not 1 point. They won, as you said, 14 games in a row to stop us from winning the league. And, you know, that is a tremendous run of games they put together. Poochmount said, teams will stop laying down and bending over for City. They'll actually attack them. Mark, stop asking for a spanner, mate. You're not getting one. Sorry, I don't mean to be rude about it, but the only reason that we gave one to John was because he has... It's my fault. I should have given them to him a very long time ago, and I don't mean to be attacking you, mate, but we're not really giving out any spanners because we've loads of mods, as it is on the channel, who do a great job, and we love them for it. But as things stand, mate, I hope you understand. I don't mean to be having a go at you. It's just we're not giving any more out at the minute because I think we've enough that can cope with the chat as things stand. But things always change, Mark, so bear with us. But teams bending over for City. Sorry, I want to go back to Poochmount's comment. I agree. And I wouldn't say maybe having a go and attacking them, but at least put in an effort and not just sit back. I mean, nobody's asking teams to go balls out and just go fully attack. But the way to get at City seems to be to at least put the fight up to them. And as you said, not just sit back and hope you can scrape a 0-0 draw or get something from a set piece, because a lot of the time that just doesn't work out. And City are that good with attack. They've so many quality attacking players that they will probably pick you off eventually. And if there is any weaknesses to be had in that Manchester City team, it is most likely the defence. What's happened with Pepe? Absolutely nothing, Kyle, other than the Lille president coming out and saying that he believes Liverpool are interested and have talked to his agent. I think he's just trying to hawk the player around and get a decent price from him. Rodri from City said they're coming after us to win the Champions League. Yeah, of course he's going to say that though, isn't he? He's going to come in and try and endear himself to the 4 or 5 Manchester City fans by saying stuff like that. They've got to do it. We've done it. Do you know what I mean? We went and won the Champions League. They haven't done it yet. So talk is easy. He's got to go and get the job done. Pepper Red, how are you, sir? Welcome back in. When City beat us, it gave them confidence and we lost confidence. I don't think we did lose confidence, really. Giving them confidence, yeah, I agree with you on that. I think they said that if that gap had remained, they probably would have lost confidence or given up almost to an extent. But look, it is what it is. They won the league and we won the Champions League, and that's that. Well, they won the treble and we won the Champions League. There's no turning back history. There's no rewriting stuff. It happened. Dean Dixon said pre-season training started today. Milner, Lallana, Brewster, Matip, Fabinho, Gomez, plus all the youngsters were there. Yep, it's great to finally have the Reds back, and now we can start to look forward to the game against Tranmere and the other pre-season games, the Tour of America, and the build-up to the start of the Premier League campaign, and of course the Super Cup and the Community Shield as well. I still find it weird that we're playing in the Community Shield. I have to be honest. Having not won anything domestically, to be then playing in the Community Shield, it's one of the reasons why I keep saying I don't give a shit about it, because I just don't feel... It feels weird that we're in it, do you know what I mean? It would have been made more sense to me to have put Watford in as the losing FA Cup finalist, but, you know, the rules are what they are. Who do I think will get relegated this season? I don't know, James. I want to wait and see what transfer business is done by clubs. Yeah, you mean the smart money will probably be on some of the teams that come up to go back down, but again, Newcastle seems to be fairly odds on with some bookies to go down, I think, as well. Jono said, Craig, I laugh at how you think we've made no contact with Pepe's agents, but Fassi said this weeks ago, and now the president has confirmed it. When did I say we've made no contract, Jono? Pal, exactly? Because if I remember correctly, which I kind of do because I'm the one that fucking talks about it all the time, I've said time and time and time again, I have no knowledge on any Liverpool transfers. How many times do I have to repeat that before people stop trying to come in and have a dig, mate? The title says that the British media say we've had no interest. I have said fuck all because I don't know if we have interest or not, Jono. But you say I laugh at, well, you're laughing at the wrong thing, pal, because you're laughing at something that actually hasn't fucking happened. So, you know, I'll accept your apology whenever you write it, mate, but I've never said that we definitely have no interest in Pepe because I don't know. Anybody who tries to tell you that they know, mate, is probably full of shit. Any truth in the rumours that we're after Ziyech? Not seen any definitives. I had seen that Ajax don't have a release clause in his contract because apparently it's something that they don't put in his contracts, and the figure of around €30 million keeps being mentioned. Tommy McCullough, how are you, mate? Good morning to you. Davison Sanchez from Spurs. I read something on the internet that he's priced at 45 million. Would you take him at Liverpool? I don't know. Sometimes I look at him and I think he's a very good player, and other times I look at him and I think he's a little bit too I don't want to say Dejan Lovren-y at times, but he's a little bit too erratic on occasions. But I don't think Spurs will sell him either, to be honest, because they could well lose Alderweireld because he has that clause in his contract, I think, for this summer. So I don't think they will sell him. But I could be wrong. I don't know. Callum said, I want the Community Shield. Then we've a win over City. I think Liverpool 3, City 2. Yeah, I get it, Callum. And Brian said the same to me when we recorded a piece before. I just don't think both teams will be back to their full levels of fitness and probably won't have their full squads totally available anyway. So that's another one of the reasons, personally, I just don't give a shit about it. Now, the Super Cup I do against Chelsea. I really want us to go and win that. Cape Town Muslim said, just me, or isn't it better to judge the Golden Boot without counting penalties? The rules are what they are, mate. I get where you're coming from. Absolutely, there are players that take penalties and that does boost up their goal scoring stats against some other players who don't, but you know, it is still a goal, I suppose, technically, and the rules are the rules. Is it possible to get a recap? Certainly, Arctic Chill Music, no problem, mate. We started off by speaking about the stream title tonight, which I think may have confused a few people because they think I'm the one saying no interest in all these players, which I absolutely amn't. But what I'm saying basically is, are the media lying to us and they're saying we've no interest, and then we go and sign somebody, or is that what they're being briefed? Or basically, that's what I'm going with that. Like, nobody knows, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But the journals may well be brief. I don't want to call out any journalists because I wouldn't dare do that because they're all professionals and I wouldn't belittle anybody like that. Then we went on to speak a little bit about a very interesting thread I read around this subject on Twitter by an account called Liverpoolzy, which is, I think, at Liverpool_ZY on Twitter. And it basically showed a history of screenshots of British-based journalists that denied Liverpool have had interests in either players or players in specific positions, but then we've gone on a couple of weeks later to go and sign either that exact player or a position that interest have been denied in. So that's kind of what led into me thinking about the title of tonight's stream. We went on then to talk a little bit about Ousmane Dembele and the Barcelona president coming out and saying that Dembele is young, talented, different from our other players. I like him very much. I consider him one of today's best footballers, and here's the kicker that really made me laugh. I consider him better than Neymar. Now, I'm not a particular fan of Neymar, but I think this is just the Barcelona president either trying to make Dembele feel good, but what did make me laugh about it was if you're Neymar, and I presume he's rolling around the ground somewhere, if you're Neymar rolling around listening to this stuff, it's not going to make you that happy, and it kind of maybe throws a little bit of doubt on any potential deal to bring Neymar back to Barcelona. What else did we talk about then? We talked about Kleberson, who has urged Liverpool to go and sign Dani Alves, who is now a free agent, I think, after his contract with PSG ran out. And I was just asking people what they thought about that. A little bit of a recap then on Naby Keita. Liverpool expect Naby Keita to be fit to begin pre-season training later this month. He sustained a minor abductor strain during the African Cup of Nations with Guinea, but as I said, the Reds hope to have him back for pre-season soon enough. That's pretty much it, I think, mate. I hope that covered it all. I do enjoy doing the recap sometimes, though. It is fun. Where do I think De Ligt will end up? It seems like Juventus, but I know they're arguing over money at the moment with Ajax. They can't seem to agree a fee for the player. I think the player has potentially agreed wages, but I don't know. It does seem like Juventus, though, to be fair. All players must learn from Milner. If they're as committed as him, they'd smash 100 points. The thing about James Milner is he's lived the lifestyle of a professional athlete since day one, which I think, Ryan Giggs, I believe, spoke about yoga for him was something that helped extend his career. And James Milner has never come back that I'm aware of from pre-season out of shape. I believe he doesn't drink alcohol and he really seems to look after himself, and it shows, which is why into his 30s he's still going strong and putting in the level of performances that he does, because the man's just a damn machine, isn't he? You gotta love Jimmy Milner. Joshua said, "Hi Craig, what's it like in Ireland? It's scorching hot in England. It's unbearable." It's a bit overcast and showery today, Joshua, to be honest, mate, but the last few days have been great. But I never complain when it's hot because we don't get much of it over here. Do you think we'll be able to compete in all competitions this year, or will we get knocked out prematurely again due to squad depth? Sometimes the answer to that would depend on the draw and the competitions, James, as well. Last year we had Wolves, Chelsea. It wasn't the easiest run through, but at the same time it's a valid question that you're asking, and even though we may not have added people yet in the transfer window, we do have Oxlade-Chamberlain coming back. We do have a potentially fit Lallana. We do have the likes of Sepp Vandenberg, Kiana Hoover. We'll see what players do in pre-season. I mean, we've got Harry Wilson back in the squad as well. As things stand, Ryan Kent is there, Ben Woodburn's there, Curtis Jones is there, of course, as well, Nat Phillips. So there are other players that might do something in pre-season that will make your club sit up and go, oh, hello, these guys have come on a lot over the last 12 months. So I hope we strengthen. But yeah, I do think we can compete in the competitions this year, mate. But sometimes it comes down to how easy of a draw you get in them as well. Sean O'Donnell said, "Hi Craig, what do you think of Klopp saying the injured players coming back are like new signings? I think he's right, and that's why we're not rushing to sign new players." There's definitely some sense, Sean, to what he said. As well as bigging up his squad, which he should be doing because they're a damn fine squad, and the players that are there that achieved so much last season. We have a little bit of depth, a little bit of extra depth, but sometimes it is good to bring in some refreshments or somebody to just revitalise the squad. And I still think we're short in the front three for backup. I have to say I do, even with Brewster and Origi. I I really just wouldn't mind that either wide player, attacking midfielder, someone to play in the hole, whoever Klopp decides. That's just the one position I think we definitely are a little bit short in. The fullback issue, yeah, we can have a conversation around that. Do you trust Adam Lewis? I don't know, because I don't know enough about him. But whatever decision Klopp makes, I think it's important for us to remember here. If we do or do not sign anybody, it's not going to be down to money. It's not down to the fact that Klopp hasn't got money available to him, because he absolutely has got money available to him. So if we don't make a load of signings, it's because Klopp believes in his team. And look, how can we doubt that when they've done so much? It's easy for us to get a bit disheartened when we see other clubs doing business. And I want us to do business. But I also want us to wait until the window's closed before we make our assessments. Willow said the media have absolutely no idea if we're going to sign a player or not. They only get told that Liverpool want them to know. Hello, don't ask, how are you? What else have we got? Keep, sell or loan Ben Woodburn, asks Nageb. Probably a loan for me. Because even if you were to sell him, I don't think you're going to get his potential value. Whereas if your long-term vision would be to sell him, then loaning him out would give him, a platform to increase his value perhaps. Now I know that sounds a little bit cold, but football clubs are a business as well at the end of the day. Or he could go out on loan, absolutely fly through, his development could shoot up, and he could be a great player to add back in. LFC 1892 said we do have depth in midfield and centre back positions, but lacking in full back and attacking positions to go all out in all tournaments. Let me just throw a couple of things out there just to try and play devil's advocate to the comment. Right, so let's say we give Kiana Hoover an opportunity, who can play at right back or at centre back. He's done okay in the few little bits and pieces I've seen of him. We've no idea quite how good Sepp Berg is right now, so maybe the game comes where we play him at centre back and we move Gomez over to right back, and then we give Adam Lewis a go at left back. So Milner can also play left back. So there are options there. It doesn't mean that we can't improve. I get you, but I'm just trying to, as I said, play a bit of devil's advocate here. Brian Morrison said Ryan Kent won't be one of those players. Yes, look, I fully believe Kent's going to be sold, or at least, well, I would say loaned, but loaned to buy, but I don't believe he'll be here this season. I fully agree with you there, Brian. Claire said this Peru team has some LFC gegenpress going on. They're a beauty to watch. I'm really surprised they've gotten to the final. I mean, pleasantly. I love watching Peru playing because I'm a massive fan of that kind of Peruvian kit, that kind of River Plate style shirt. It's I love seeing shirts like that as well. So it'll be an interesting final tomorrow, but you got to make Brazil massive favourites as well, it being in Brazil. The Copa America final, for those asking, kicks off at British time tomorrow at 9 p.m, which is one of the reasons I'm not doing a stream, because with Allison, with Bobby playing, I mean, we're probably going to want to all watch it, aren't we? Let's be honest with it. So we're going to put out the segment that I filmed with Cash yesterday, so that's going to go out tomorrow. And we'll probably time it so it goes out maybe in the afternoon to give everybody a chance if they want to watch it before the Copa America final. Right, we still have 35 minutes to go on tonight's stream, ladies and gentlemen, and we are only a few subscribers away from passing 17,800, so you know what to do. I hate asking, but I would love to hit 18k before holidays. We need cover for the flanks, said Poochmount. Gary Richards said Danny Alves would be good for the group of players. I've no idea what he's like, actually. I've no idea what he's like as a person. I've never really followed much about his type of personality or and so I've no idea if he'd be a good influence in a dressing room or a shitty influence. I just genuinely don't know. But as I said, his career, you can't really knock the man's career. As a fullback, he's been at the top level for a very long time. Okay, what else have we got? Aziz, thank you so much, mate. I love that, your kind words. Appreciate it, mate. Thank you. The owners have been good. You have to admit it. It's a nice day. Yes, they have. They've made mistakes. Of course they have. There's no denying that. But they're trying to build us up for, a sustainable long-term future. They've got the right man in charge. They're backing him. Yeah, there's lots of positives that we can definitely talk about with the owners, and they're getting even better as time goes on. So I think history will show that they were good owners for this football club, and I think that's a fair comment. But everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and amazingly, I've seen a few FSG out pop up again on social media, and for the life of me, I don't know what the fuck they want from owners, really. I mean, look at the Glazers at United, taking a shitload of money out of the club. The interest repayments on the leverage purchase of the club is shocking. And to my knowledge, and I could be wrong on this, I don't believe FSG have taken a penny out of Liverpool Football Club yet. Now, they will make a massive profit whenever they come to sell, but I don't have a problem with that either, because let's look at this as buying a house or buying any other business. They've bought it, they've improved the infrastructure, they've built a massive main stand, they're building a training facility. The value has automatically gone up, of course, as well with the television revenue and stuff. And they will sell it on for a massive, 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 massive profit someday. I don't give a shit about that as long as we're in a better place when they do it, and as long as the club are winning things, and as long as we're right at the top, which we are right now. So I'd rather they did it that way and took their massive profit at the end, rather than milking money out of the club through the time that they're here. So that's just my little take on it anyway. Sepp Berg can play centre back. That is where he plays, so yes, he definitely can. Do you think part of Woodburn's problem is that he hasn't had a nail down specific position given his lack of pace? It's a good show, Craig. It's a very interesting conversation point. It's weird because he's rated really highly. The Welsh managers, and I say managers because he's worked with a few different ones there so far, have sung his praises very highly. He was talked about really highly, and he does have that slight lack of pace that you're speaking about. I think that's a fair comment. And maybe he suffers a little bit of the what I would call James Milner type situation, where he can play in a few positions but yet never really got a chance to nail down one and show his worth. It's interesting, yeah. I do think it's a good point you've made. What else we got? John Cable said, I haven't seen Rodri play. Is he any good? If so, how come yet again he's City's record at 69 million? How do they get all these world class players so cheap? They didn't get him cheap, mate. They paid his buyout clause. So I think his termination or buyout clause at Atletico Madrid was 70 million, and they didn't even go and pay Atletico Madrid. What has to happen there is Manchester City went to the Premier League's offices and triggered that release clause of 70 million euros. So we could have done it, United could have done it, any club that wanted to buy Rodri, that was the amount that was in his contract. So they simply went and triggered the release clause, mate. Of all the iffy shit I think they may have done, this one, they've just went and paid the 70 million euro up front in one go and got their player. Obviously, the player has to want to go and play there as well. There is that side of it. Joss Grove, how are you? Said, hey Craig, who would be most excited for Liverpool to sign? Realistic, I mean, hands up in the air. Anybody Mbappe, of course, but realistically, I've nailed my flag to the Fekir post for quite a while now. I'd love us to get that deal done for Nabil Fekir. Pepe, I don't know enough about, so I can't really say yay or nay to Pepe because I haven't seen enough of him. Fernandes, I don't see happening. Timo Werner, I wouldn't mind as well. Ziyech, I can understand why people would be interested there. Although it now looks like he could be going to Spurs. I like Danny Ceballos as well. Who else is there? Asensio is an interesting link. I don't know if he's worth the 85 million, but he's a very good footballer. And there's probably a few others who I'm just not remembering at the minute. But Fekir, for me, if I could just get one realistic signing now, I'd go with Fekir. John W. Henry said Klopp has hit all his goals but understands Liverpool will not rest until the title is won. Henry backs Klopp all the way. Massive contrast when compared to United. Look, yeah, exactly. It seems like once they got Jurgen Klopp in, he was the man that they wanted, the man that they knew was the right man for the project that we had at the club, and he has ticked all the boxes. He's improved the squad, but they are responsible for employing him, and they were responsible for quickly extending his contract as well. So yeah, they deserve massive credit for that. What else we got? Origi is 45 million. Well, Origi ain't going anywhere. But I don't know what his price is, to be honest. It's a tough one. But hopefully one that we don't have to have a conversation around, because hopefully he signs that new deal and it doesn't go anywhere. Can you imagine the parade for the Premier League champion? Yeah, look, I'm not going to lie. I said at the start of this season, I want us to win the Premier League more than any other trophy. Winning the Champions League was amazing, and I'll never forget it, and it gave me some wonderful memories. But we do want to try and get that. It's just because of how long it's been. So yeah, it would be nice for us to go and win the Premier League. Fekir is worth the risk. I'd love him. Pepe or Ziyech, just one would be good. I'm not sure if you meant to write is or isn't there, but you have wrote is, so we'll go off that you want them to sign. The thing about the risk, as I keep saying, is last summer before the World Cup it was 55 million. Now it seems like that price is halved, and therefore probably the risk is halved, and it makes it a more sensible deal perhaps. Fekir isn't realistic, but Fekir is realistic at the same time. I don't know what on earth you're trying to say there, press. He is realistic and he isn't realistic. I don't know what to say, mate, to that one, because I can't really figure it out. Was I happy when we signed Balotelli in 2015? Not a fucking chance, mate. I was pissed off. You go and sell Luis Suarez and bring in Mario Balotelli. Nah, I wasn't happy at all with that one, mate. I'm not going to lie, at that moment I wanted Alexis Sanchez. And I wanted Alexis Sanchez badly at that time. Would Bummer be a good number 10, said WD Red. Origi's personal play is brilliant. He's a real talent for being in the right place at the right time. Yeah, and he stepped up in the big moments this year, which is why I think that he's going to get rewarded, or at least he has been offered that new deal. Nice day, he said. Drifty posted earlier, he's getting worried about we haven't signed anyone for a front three. Going to be resting at the start of the season. I mean, I'm not worried about the start of the season because it's only a handful of games. I mean, Norwich at home on a Friday night, we should be beaten, even without our front three there. The Super Cup then comes next. Let's wait and see what happens with that. And then you have another week where you're probably starting to get your players back then. So, I mean, as I said, Drifty's coming on Monday, so we'll definitely have a chat about this and I'll get his thoughts on all things Liverpool related. Claire Dean said, can we take a moment to recognise the incredible man on all levels that is Jurgen Klopp? I mean, how lucky are we to have him? Yes, and absolutely agree with you, Claire. I mean, still pinch myself that Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool manager from time to time. I mean, what a man. I couldn't believe when we signed him. I was over the moon for a very, 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 very long time about that. Better than or as good as any transfer we've had in the past 15 years probably. Dembele sounds like he could be another Balotelli with his attitude, to John Cable. He defo has attitude issues, mate. There's no denying that one. Poochman said, I love how the club is doing business now. We've so much more control. It feels good that everybody is waiting to see who we buy. Dean Dixon said, net debt not stated, bank loan 56 million, 99 million owed to FSG, interest payable 8 million, 10 million was repaid on FSG loan in 2019. Yeah, they did loan us, I think, I could be wrong with this number, I think it was something like 165 million or something along those lines for the main stand. Could be a bit less than that, maybe I have that number wrong. What's interesting to know here though is when they loaned us the money, it was technically interest free, but when you're doing a deal like that, apparently when you're loaning money, you add in something like 3% for the rate of inflation over the cost of or the time of the loan, I believe. But they definitely did loan us the money to build a stand. But again, they're not taking interest on that other than the 3%, which I believe is an industry standard for loans because of inflation. Who do I think of buying the window? I have no idea yet, Rory, mate. I hope Fekir, but I just don't know. With Dembele, Klopp will have him right, plus he's Mane and Origi around. Just to kind of circle back around to what I said earlier on, the Barcelona president seems to be very forthright in saying that he's really, really happy with Dembele. He rates him higher than Neymar, and that he's not going to go anywhere by the looks of it. Again, just want to circle back around to the fact that Creevy and Kelleher is going to be sidelined for up to 6 weeks. He had an operation after breaking his wrist, which leaves us a little bit stuck for a keeper at the start of pre-season with Mignolet on holiday still, Alisson at the Copa America. Grabara had the European Under-21s as well, and he's going to be a little bit late back. So maybe for the first game or two, we could have to use one of the Under-18s, which is sound. It's only pre-season. Joss, I don't do the games of who would I rather lose, X or Y, because I don't want to lose any of them, and I don't see the point of the conversations because it's a negative, and I try not to go with negatives, mate, because it's more fun to talk about positives. Do you think Jurgen will stay with us after his current contract expires, or do you believe he'll move on to another challenge? Well, I think if he leaves Liverpool after his current contract, which I think has 3 years left to run, he'll take a sabbatical, like he said that he would. I hope he signs an extension. I really do, but I guess we're going to have to wait and see. Brian Morrissey said the Balotelli signing was a low point. Yeah, it wasn't fucking great. It wasn't great at all. What are we? A handful now away from 70,800. So if there's a few people watching that haven't subscribed, please do hit that button. Let me just check my notes to make sure I haven't forgotten anything tonight. We've got about 25 minutes left on tonight's stream, so if there's anything you want to talk about, guys, please do put it in the chat. And just a reminder that I won't be here tomorrow night. We won't be streaming because I want to spend an evening with my family, of course, and we've got the Copa America final on as well to look forward to. But I'll be back on Monday at 9:30, and even before that on Monday I'll be recording a little segment with Drifty. So tomorrow well, I'm not sure what time it'll go out at, but sometime tomorrow we will put out new content. I had about a 42 minute conversation with Cash the other night, so that'll be going up for you guys tomorrow. Let me just quickly run back over my notes here just to see if I missed anything. Oh yes, I did. There's one thing I forgot to talk about. I read an article today on Lancs Live, which must be the name of the website for Lancashire Live or something like that, that said Burnley will make more than £2 million from Liverpool's sale of Danny Ings to Southampton. The article mentions that when the tribunal took place when we signed Danny Ings from Burnley, the fee was set at £6.5 million with an additional £1.5 million in potential add-ons, taking the total to be paid for Danny Ings to £8 million. The tribunal also stated that the Clarets, as in Burnley, would receive a 20% sell-on of any profit Liverpool made on the sale of Danny Ings. It's understood that the add-ons were not triggered, meaning that Liverpool have made £11.5 million profit on the Danny Ings deal, and Burnley will net £2.3 million from that deal. So yeah, I just thought that was a little bit of an interesting insight there into how the Danny Ings tribunal was planned or panned out and how that deal took place. So it seems like Burnley made 2.3 million from us selling Danny Ings to Southampton for 20 million quid, which was 18 million after a £2 million loan fee. Okay. See, Dean Blunt, I could have a go at you because you said the irony of this guy saying I try not to be negative. But I'm not going to waste my time, mate, because I've had enough fun playing with trolls tonight. So I'm just going to boot you out of the chat, pal. And you can, I don't know, have a wank, watch Pornhub, whatever it is that you do with your time, mate. I'll let you go and do it. But, as I said, maybe look up what the definition of irony is in a dictionary, perhaps, pal. But you know what, as I always say, start your own channel, mate, and do what the fuck you want on there. And thanks to the mods again for letting that one through. What else have we got? The club, and by the way, I'm probably one of the most positive people you'll come across. I very rarely talk negatives on here. So maybe you need to understand what the definition of irony actually means. Dean Blunt. Your surname's quite funny as well. I didn't catch the beginning. Any real news on transfers? No, mate, genuinely there isn't much. And nothing new anyway on transfers. Also, sometimes it's really hard, by the way, to come on every night and try and come up with topics to talk about when there's not much going on. Like, it's easy when we're playing games. It's easy if there's transfer news. It's easy if we're winning stuff or losing stuff or whatever. But when there's nothing to do, to come on every night to talk for an hour and 45 minutes, I would love some people that are very critical and take the piss to figure it out, to come and have a pop at it, because it ain't fucking easy. I enjoy it and I love it, but it ain't easy sometimes when people are being negative all over social media and you come on to try and have a bit of fun and you get people having a pop. I mean, they're perfectly entitled to have a pop. That's the internet. That's the way the world works. What else we got? As a Liverpool fan from the tune, I get to watch Ayoze Perez a lot. So I'm saying it from watching him, particularly every game he plays. I must have missed the first part of that, mate. Sorry. Obviously Ayoze Perez went to Leicester for was it 30 million, something like that? Bum bum bum. Excalibur. I love that. Whoever came up with that phrase, by the way, thank you. I can't remember who it was, but I do love the Excalibur thing. It makes me laugh. Okay, what else have we got? Balotelli or Benteke? Oh Christ, that's it. No, I'm not touching that, Anthony. It's just basically different shades of shy, mate, for that one. Carl Richard said, hope you're good, Craig. Can't wait for Liverpool to unleash Brewster. Mate, I am so buzzing about this kid. I cannot wait for us to sign Ryan Brewster. Or sign? Jesus, get your shit together. I'm distracted by something else. To unleash, as you said, Ryan Brewster. He's going to be a superstar. I don't want to put too much pressure on him because it'll be his first full season with the first team, but he's going to be great one way or the other. Okay, what else have we got? Sorry, just the comments are moving quick. I'm trying to read through them. Craig, I agree things are very quiet at Liverpool about signings and stuff is difficult, and Mark Hendley refused at LFC 1892. Yeah, it's a tough question to answer. It is. It's really difficult to find stuff to talk about, particularly from a positive perspective, because I could come on here and I could bitch and moan about us not signing anybody. That would be the easy thing for me to do, but what's the fucking point? That's not how I am as a person. I always try and be positive about stuff. Doesn't mean I don't moan. It doesn't mean I don't bitch about stuff. I'm a human being. But at least one thing I can say is I sit here and I look into this camera every night and I give honest views on how I feel about stuff. I could absolutely manipulate the situation to get more subscribers. Easily. Very easily. I could absolutely have sold out and made a shit ton of money from some of the offers that have come in. But I haven't. And we haven't. Because it's never been our intention. We set this up to be a community of Liverpool fans, which is why we don't put up with dickheads and we kick them out of the chat. Again, probably losing the subscribers, but we care about the people that subscribe to this channel and the people that take the time to come in and watch us every night. They're family to us. They mean the world to us. I spend time emailing people after the show. I spend time DMing people back on social media. I spend time going back and forth. I Skype with people. I do a lot of stuff that people don't see in front of this camera. And don't give a shit. I don't want to do it for recognition. I do it because I care. And because when people come in and they subscribe and they comment and they give us their time, I believe they deserve that respect and time and love back from us. And yeah, there are channels. I could have this channel now at probably 30,000 subscribers if I was so inclined to play the game, let's just say, on YouTube and put specific headlines up and word things in a specific way and lead people on with regards to transfers and shit. But I don't do it and I'll never do it because I like to believe I have some integrity, and I like to believe that Connor has the same, and that's the way we want to run our fucking channel. And if people subscribe and people enjoy what we do, that's absolutely brilliant and we love you for it and thank you. If it isn't for you and you don't like what we do, you don't like me, you think I'm a prick, I get that as well. I am Marmite, I'm not for everybody. But I just don't know what you expect from coming in and putting a comment in the chat. I know you want your 2 minutes of fame, probably because you're a sad little fuck. But how sad are you that is your goal, to come on and get some lad sitting at home to just slag you off, basically? I mean, whatever works for you. I mean, I would, as I said, I'd much rather spend that time looking at Pornhub or something semi-productive. But we do work hard to make sure that the stream and the channel is an inclusive place for everybody. We work hard to keep politics out. We work hard to keep any religious aspects or anything sexual orientation, anything that might make people feel uncomfortable. We make sure we move out. Our mods do a great job. The people that give us topics to talk about, and sometimes Connor and the stuff that research stuff, they all do a great job as well. So again, let me just take a moment, because I won't be here tomorrow, to say thank you. to everyone that's made us what we are, because without you guys and your support and your love and your help, Anfield Agenda would be fuck all. It wouldn't exist. I wouldn't be here. The channel wouldn't be here. I think we're going to do something special together. We have had a lot of approaches lately from companies and from people that want to work with us because of the way things are done. Because they look and they see the way our chat is so lovely and friendly and how people interact and that they care for each other, and they like the style of content that we make and they like how interactive that we are. And if we wanted to, me and Connor could have made a shit ton of money now. We could have sold out, tried to flog loads of shit and made loads of money. But what we've always tried to do is give you guys stuff, because there's nothing like free shit. Everyone loves free shit. So we try and give stuff away, and we try and work with companies that we think will benefit the group as a whole and the channel. And that will continue to be the case. We have our own other little bits and pieces that we do on the side. I have a few offers on the table right now for work that I'm considering. I don't know whether I'll do them or not, but whatever I do won't impact this channel, because this channel will be and has always been my baby and Connor's baby since day one. And my God, we fucking love you people. And my God, we love that you're here with us. And I know I keep saying thank you, and I know you're probably sick of it, but you've no idea what this means to us. I don't care if we've got 17,000 subscribers. I think we have the best platform of any Liverpool channel, bar none, on YouTube. And I'm not saying we make the best content, and I'm not knocking other people. I'm a fan of the Redmen TV. I'm a fan of the Anfield Rap. Those guys do amazing stuff. But we have a fucking community and a group on here that works for each other. So again, just a little moment, 15 minutes to go, to say thank you again for everything, and to let you know that we're working hard to try and make it better. We're listening to what you say, and we're trying to take your thoughts on board. We're going to start doing shorter content as well, because we understand people don't have an hour and 45 minutes to come on here and listen. And we're going to try and do recaps, we're going to try and do clips, and we're going to try and do lots of other interactive stuff to keep the channel going, because it's your channel. You are Anfield Agenda, and we love you for it. It means the world to us that you're here with us. I just want you to know that, and I'm going to keep telling you that because it's true. Anyway, let me get back to your comments, because I've seen the chat moved quite a bit there as I was talking. Sorry. I'll be glad when the games are underway again. So Anthony Davis, oh mate, I mean, it's great, but it's greater when there's games to talk about, isn't there? Yeah, sorry, you're welcome, and there's no need to thank us. And from day one, this has been special. You know what I mean? From day one, we've had buy-in from people, and we've had interaction, and we've had a great out group, and we've gotten very lucky with who has come to the channel for a chat. Why are people talking about Brewster as a generational talent? Well, quite frankly, I don't give us credit for much, but that was our phrase. I believe we coined that for Ryan Brewster, the generational talent thing. He is. That's why. I know it's very easy, Patrick, for me to sit here and say that, but sometimes you just hear stories about kids coming through, Robbie Fowler, Michael Owen, Steven Gerrard. We've seen it with Raheem Sterling at underage level as well. You just know that there's something special about a player, and I suppose the term generational talent is thrown around because there aren't many of these through every cycle probably of youth players to come through, and Brewster has the potential to be a Robbie Fowler, to be perhaps a Steven Gerrard, a Michael Owen, a Raheem Sterling. I know all different positions, but I'm just talking about the calibre of the career that these guys have had. I noticed you said semi-productive. Did I? I don't know, Willow, did I say semi-productive? I don't know if I did or not. I don't know why I would have said semi-productive. If I did, it probably was a slip of the tongue. Plus, we get to see moves like K-Pen Muslim. Yeah, there's always going to be moves. I mean, when the celebrations come out, the moves come out. What else have we got? Sorry, I'm just trying to read through some channels. Carl Richards, thank you very much, mate, for the kind words. Morally Diminished said, read a story today where Balotelli paid a bar owner in Naples $2,000 to drive his moped into the tide. The guy never seems to amaze me. He's a fucking madman. I do love some of the antics that Balotelli gets up to, by the way, but that aside, he just wasn't good enough on the pitch here. Are you happy Rafael Camacho is loaned out? He isn't loaned out. He was sold, Marco, to Sporting Lisbon for 5 million, I think rising to a potential 7 million. Liverpool have a 20% sell-on clause on that as well, and we have an option to buy him back. So I suppose technically it could be looked at as a loan, but it was a sale. Make your money, Craig said. Nice day. Couldn't be arsed. Honestly, mate, that's what I said from day one. I don't give a shit about money. Money's never been something in life that motivates me. I'm somebody that gets motivated by life experiences. So I'll give you a little example. Myself and Connor are looking at getting over to Calgary to meet the Liverpool Supporters Club over in Calgary, Larry Leach and the guys over there. And we've been saving little bit by little bit. Some of our own money, some of the money from adverts and stuff on Anfield Agenda. And we're hoping to get over to Calgary in the coming season to meet the guys over there. Now, that to me is much more beneficial than me getting $5,000 for doing a bit of work with somebody, because the experience of getting to meet Liverpool fans in Calgary, or getting to meet people that time when we went over to the beer keller at the end of the season, or getting media passes to go and see Liverpool play in Dublin. These life experiences are what we set up Anfield Agenda for, and that's what... You can't buy this stuff. Like, I couldn't buy... No amount of money would be able to have bought me the feeling that I felt when we beat Barcelona 4-0, and we were all on here together watching and celebrating and crying, and yeah, there's no amount of money. There's no going and working for somebody else and getting handed a check that would have given me that feeling. That feeling was there because of the connection and the interaction that we have as a group, and because what it meant to me, it meant to you, and it meant to somebody else, it meant to Willow, and it meant to Adam, and it meant to Brian, and it meant to everybody else in the chat, and that's why it's special. So that's what we did from day one. Couldn't give a shit about money. Doesn't motivate me in life outside of this channel. I'm somebody that just wants to have enough to keep the lights on, keep the kids fed, put clothes on their back, keep the heating on in the gaff. I run a modest car. As I said, I drive a 2011 Renault Megane. Anyone that meets me can confirm that that's the case. Money doesn't mean a fucking thing to me. As long as we can pay our bills, I'm sound in life. So I'm never someone that will go and chase money. If shit happens and you blow up, things come naturally. But do you know what? I'd probably end up giving a lot of that away if it is the case, because I couldn't be arsed. Liam Barr wants a shout out, of course, mate. How are you? Shout out to you and welcome in. What else we got? Not forgetting about your moves. I love getting the moves out. Do you know what I mean? Moves are moves. Any news? Not really, Jurgen's Army. It's quite quiet, buddy, to be honest. Started to watch this channel close season. Do you do live watch alongs for the games or selected games? We try and do every single game, John. Pre-season, some of them will depend on the time the kickoffs are in America, but for like the Premier League and the Champions League, I think we might have missed 2 games last season in total. I think we did watch alongs of every other game. So yeah, we do. I'd like to say we do every game, John. We do 99% of the games, probably, or 95% of the games, or 97%. I don't know. We try and do them all anyway, John. How crap did you feel the Monday night before the Barca second leg will turn around for the season? It was a weird old feeling, wasn't it? Because before the game, I fully expected City to go and beat Leicester. As the game went on, obviously, and it was still 0-0, you did have your hopes. Then Vincent Kompany steps up, sticks one in top bins, and you feel devastated. Well, I did anyway. Then you roll on the following night, and you're 3-0 down against Barcelona. You've got no... Who did we not got for that game? We had no... Was it Firmino and Salah? We were missing 2 of the front 3 for the game anyway, and Origi started. And you're thinking, do you know what, let's go and win the game and see what happens from there. And you go 1-0 up, and you're thinking, oh, hello. And you get the half time at 1-0, and you're thinking, that's alright, 1-0's good, 2 more, 1 quick goal in the second half, and then that'll put them under pressure. Then you go to 2-0 up, and you're thinking, oh shit, this could be possible. And then Shaqiri whips one in, and Gini Wijnaldum rises up and nods it into the top corner, and you're thinking 3-3. What do you do here? Do you sit back and relax at 3-3 and try and take the game through to extra time? And then Trent steps up with an absolute moment of brilliance, and I can't underplay as well the finish from Divock. And then we all go into meltdown, and jeez, even thinking about it now, And I mean, I don't know how many times you guys have watched that back, but I imagine it's a lot of times you've watched the goals during that game back. It still doesn't cease to amaze me what we achieved that night. And some of my favourite moments from that game was the camera on the faces of Lionel Messi, of Luis Suarez, of Felipe Coutinho, and they looked shocked. They knew what was coming. They could feel it. They had that doubt in their mind from the season before when they went over to the Olympic Stadium in Rome and Roma knocked them out. So they had that doubt in their mind, and you could see it washing over their faces. It was a thing of beauty. Okay, what else have we got? Jay Kisman said, time is money, and the amount of effort and work the lads put in, they deserve good vibes. The financial side of it, nobody's business when the content is good and respectful. I've been bluntly honest about it, mate. As I said from day one, everything with me is an open book. I think my MacBook, about 1,600 quid, maybe a few quid less. Connor's MacBook, almost 3 grand. Ring lights, 200 quid. Microphones, between the ones that we've bought, probably 400 or 500 quid. Webcam, 300 quid. Boom arm, 80 quid. Other bits of... I'd say we're about, without being unrealistic, 7 grand maybe to start up and keep things going. And we only got monetized then back in October, if memory serves me correct. And our biggest monetized month up until last month was €267, something like that. So you can probably see how long it would take us to get back to even. But it's never been about that. We could afford to buy the MacBook, and Connor could afford to buy his MacBook, and it was our choice. We chose to start the channel, so I'm not going to fucking sit here and moan and cry about money. It's great to be monetized, don't get me wrong. It's great to have that few quid coming in from ad revenue. It's great to be able to take super chats and stuff. It does make a difference because it lets you think you can go and at least break even in the long term. But none of that is worth more than the memories that we have. Niall Shaw said, YouTube is so stupid, I never get notifications, mate. I know, I feel you. I've had so many people say that to me, and I've looked into it with Connor as well, because Connor's the technical guy for the show, and it just seems to be a YouTube issue and not anything we can do anything about. So what I would probably suggest, and I don't know if it would help, I mean, it's like the old turn on and off thing, but click notifications off, click them back on, and hope for the best. I wish there was something I could say. John said, great, I look forward to the watch-alongs. They're so much fun, mate. I don't mean to just say that to big us up, but I'm quite calm now. I'm a different person when Liverpool are playing competitively. I will be calling referees, CUNTs. I will be screaming abuse at people left, right and centre. It is fun though. Where am I from? Sorry for asking a rude question. Mate, it's not a rude question. You're perfectly entitled. Anything. Guys can ask me anything on here. If I don't want to answer it, I won't. I'm from Dublin, mate. South Dublin, Shankill to be precise. Now I live in Wexford and Gorey. Which some dickhead earlier on said was the scariest city in Ireland, which is just fucking ridiculous because it's a beautiful place. Far Isle said, felt bad for Mo and guilty. I was glad he'd be safe. I get that. I get where you're coming from, buddy. It's you want him to do well because of his national pride, because we all love him, and because it was in Egypt as well. But as you said, the selfish part of us will be looking at it and going, well, he is now, he's coming back now and he's free from injury, which is a massive plus. Watch the semis at Dublin Airport, just brilliant, said Patrick. Nice one. Yeah, it was amazing though, wasn't it? I mean, you never forget that, mate. When Trent is 60, he's still going to be answering questions about that corner. Yeah, it was just brilliant. And I love that Klopp just stood there and applauded, because what else could he do? He wants his players to feel like they have the freedom to try and do stuff like that. And it's because they know they have the manager's back in that they feel like they can try stuff like that. And, I mean, that young man at 19 years of age, to have the wherewithal to do that is stunning. Notifications don't work on any YouTube channel to my knowledge, said Gonads. It's a little bit of frustrating for everybody, isn't it? Although one thing I will say about us is, if you watch the channel and you're ever wondering, it's usually 9:30 that we start. Sometimes 9:45, depending, but usually we try and go at 9:30. It used to be later. We used to start at 10, and then we start moving it backwards bit by bit to try and get a bit earlier for people. Brian Kelly said he always gets notifications when he uses his phone. Nice one, thank you for that update. I mean, maybe that'll come in handy. Is it true that Salah has said he wants to leave the end of next season? No. What he's refused to do, I believe, is say anything on it. And some of the stuff lately seems to be stemming from the Lille, is it president or I think it was president or manager, I don't know, said that he thinks maybe one of the players might be looking to leave. Again, just trying to make it out like there could be a space there and that Nicolas Pepe could fill that space. And it just seems like he's just trying to drum up business. Carl Ritter said, played the football tournament in Dublin, great place, great people, all Liverpool fans. There's a good chunk. There's probably a 50-50 split between Liverpool, United. Well, of course there are other clubs, but in the whole. But it is, yeah, Dublin's a great place. And Irish people as a whole, I think, are pretty friendly. Right, Willow said she gets notifications on her phone as well, which is, if I'm using the tablet, I don't get them. That is strange, isn't it? That people on the phones seem to be getting them alright, but then on the tablets people aren't. Harry Daw said Firmino as a 10 if Pepe signs. I honestly, I'd be guessing, but I'd be very surprised if he's dislodged from the position that he plays in because he's so important with his pressing and stuff. Salah will go where Lovren goes, said Skywalker. That bromance is funny, isn't it? It is great to see though. Tom Jones said Coutinho is a symbol of what happens when you leave a club on the up. Yes, and the grass isn't always greener. I suppose Tom is a good analogy to use there. He was loved here, idolised by the fans, and he went over there now and he's been booed and he's not getting, I suppose, what he's hoped when he went over there. He won La Liga, there's no denying that, but he could have been part of a Champions League winning team this year with Liverpool and idolised by the Liverpool fans. Got it, the one. I'm good, thank you. How are you, sir? I hope life's treating you well. Good morning from a cold Sydney, said Jer. Wow, never assume. Whenever I think of Sydney, Jer, I assume that it's warm. But I suppose it's coming into your winter now, isn't it? Pepe can wait his damn turn, said Pepper Red. I like it. Laptops and tablets are useless for YouTube notifications, said Joel Heatley. Right, look, ladies and gents, I am going to call it a night. And don't forget, I won't be here tomorrow. So it'll be Monday when I'm back. I'm doing a show with Drifty on Monday as well. It's not going to be live, that'll be pre-recorded, so that will go out probably a few days later. We'll be streaming again on Monday night, of course. Enjoy the Copa America final tomorrow. If you are new to the stream or you're joining us for the first time, don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you head off and give us a thumbs up. Craig, near where you live in Shankill, or Chipper called Bernardo's? Yes, it's in Shankill Village, mate. I lived about 5-minute walk away from there. Anyway, as I always say, look, have a wonderful weekend, guys. Love to all of you. Thank you so much for continually to watch the channel and interacting and everything that you do for us. Take care of your families. Tell your loved ones that you love them. And up the motherfucking Reds. Take care.